This is another Collector Guy's countdown of the coolest action figures of the 60s and 70s. Now, number 1, G.I. Joe. Originally released in Christmas of 1964, G.I. Joe is the very first action figure, or as it said on the box, America's movable fighting man. A term coined to fight the industry's reluctance to market a doll to boys. But boy were they wrong. G.I. Joe, with his 19 points of articulation, was an instant hit, with commercials featuring this unforgettable theme song.
G.I. Joe, fighting man from head to toe, on the land, on the sea, in the air.
The original G.I. Joe represented the 4 branches of the U.S. Armed Forces. There were Action Soldier, Action Pilot, Action Sailor, and Action Marine. So I bought this G.I. Joe at an antique store a few weeks ago, and it's in the original box, and I think it's 1966-ish. But I just wanted to show you, if you bought this in the store back then, what you would be getting. So here's your G.I. Joe Action Marine, and you would undo the box. In these you would get the Marine Manual, which had all sorts of stuff, also pushed other accessories. Showed you how you could use your Joe there. You also would get something like this. Would try to get you to join the G.I. Joe Club. And with that, you would get iron-on transfer for your shirt, personalized official G.I. Joe dog tag, a newsletter, membership certificate, ID card, and a catalog. You could join this for the whopping cost of 50 cents. Then in here we had G.I. Joe himself. He's in his fatigues. He's got his dog tags there. This is what he would have came with, just the fatigues. He also has a hat. I do not think this is the original hat that went with him, but I'll take it for now. So that is the G.I. Joe Action Marine, circa 1965-66 in the box. That's what you would have got for your $4 something in the mid-60s. Joe was so popular that other toy companies quickly tried to make their own cheap imitations. Hasbro was faced with a very unique challenge, which leads us to today's collector's class. If you can't trademark the human figure, how did Hasbro protect their investment? First, the printed copyright on his rear. Then the iconic scar on his right cheek. And finally, which was originally a mistake, his fingernail being on the wrong side of his left thumb. Originally there were only 4 figures, but there were a lot of accessories. Taken from the same business model Mattel did with Barbie, this is where Hasbro would make its profits. The G.I. Joe figure originally sold for $4, but there were hundreds of outfits. You could gear Joe up to fight fires in this heat suit. Then turn that same figure into a mountaineer. There were vehicles, communication equipment, mess kits, and of course all sorts of weapons. If the military used it, Joe had it. Including one of my very favorites, this really cool space capsule that you could send Joe into orbit.
Is he ready to go into space with a new G.I. Joe Astronaut Capsule and spacesuit? Silver uniform, space helmet, communications cord. The realistic capsule has simulated retro rockets. Sliding canopy, control panel too. And the capsule floats, so recoveries can be made. There's even a phonograph record of an actual flight.
In 1970, most likely because of the Vietnam War, G.I. Joe shifted from a military theme to more of an adventure theme. Thus began the era of G.I. Joe Adventure Team. And if you grew up during this time, you'll remember him for his lifelike hair and kung fu grip. In the 70s, Hasbro even produced a bionic version of this line to compete with the popular $6 million man figure. His name, Mike Power, Atomic Man. Hasbro quit making the 12-inch G.I. Joe in 1976. Since then, there have been a lot of commemorative editions and reissues just like these. Unfortunately, I have seen sellers try to pass these off as original. So there you have it, G.I. Joe, the king of the action figures, #1 on our countdown of the coolest figures of the 60s and 70s. Thanks for watching, and please hit subscribe so you can see more great Collector Guy videos. And always remember, surround yourself with what you love.